Well, it is the 24th of November 2013. My name is Najma Ismael and this is KTN Weekend at One. At least 14 people lost their lives and 20 others were seriously injured in a grisly road accident involving a bus and a lorry on Mombasa Road near Quarry area, a few kilometers from Sultan Hamoud. The accident occurred when a passenger bus heading to Mombasa from Kitui collided head-on with a lorry that was moving in the opposite direction. The lorry caught fire after swerving off from the road. Both the lorry and bus drivers died on the spot. Casualties now are receiving treatment at the Sultan Hamoud and Makindu Hospital, 10 of them in critical condition. We're now joined on phone by KTN's Sharon Momanyi, who is on the ground for the very latest on that tragedy. Sharon Momanyi?
Good afternoon, Najma.
Afternoon, Sharon. So how's the situation on the ground?
At the moment, the accident area has been cleared off. The truck, the bus has been pulled to the Sultan Hamoud police station, and the reports were that 12 people died on the spot at the accident that occurred at about 11:30 p.m. last night. The accident occurred while the bus is said to have been traveling from Kitui town and headed to Mombasa town. And while a few kilometers just before Sultan Hamoud town, a truck was traveling towards Nairobi from Mombasa and reported to have been driving at a very high speed, then drove straight onto the bus into a collision. Now, reports that we get from some of the survivors is that the bus could not avoid the collision in time, as the truck was really coming onto them at a fast speed. And the moment the collision occurred, the truck is said to have burst into flame immediately, having the passengers think that it was actually carrying petroleum products. But as it is said, it's because of burst tires. So 12 people died on the spot, and about 20 others rushed to Sultan Hamoud nursing home. At the moment, about 10 people are still receiving treatment at the nursing home, and about 7 others have been rushed to Makindu Hospital, reported to be in critical condition. Back to you.
How is the traffic flow there? I believe traffic was on a standstill, and there were belongings all over strewn all over the highway. How is it right now?
At the moment, the traffic has been brought back to control, and traffic is the vehicles are moving freely. The area has been sealed off, but there's another route just by the side, so traffic is moving smoothly at the moment.
Well, thank you very much. Sharon Momanyi there on the ground, and she will be keeping us up to speed with the happenings of the tragic incident in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, tension remains high in Lorokan and Nakwamoru areas of Turkana South. Turkana South there, following a siege by bandits believed to be from the Pokot community. The areas remain inaccessible after militiamen who are holding 3 police camps blocked the road leading to the 2 villages. Security agencies, including reinforcements from West Pokot, Eldoret and Kitale, are yet to access the troubled spots. Hundreds of women and children in the villages, which have been surrounded by the bandits, are said to be in dire need of humanitarian assistance. The siege follows a border dispute between the Pokot and Turkana communities. The Pokot are said to be laying claim to an area currently occupied by members of the Turkana community. Well, still on Turkana, the government says it is yet to confirm the magnitude of the reported siege on 3 police camps by militiamen in the area. Speaking to KTN, Administration Police spokesman Masood Muniz says there are no casualties reported in the said siege, which is said to have been fueled by conflict over the oil-rich regions of South Turkana. Moving on, members of the National Assembly and the Senate are once again embroiled in a power tussle. This comes days after the members of the National Assembly proposed that the Senate be scrapped through a national referendum, arguing that the move will cut down on the wage bill. And now some members of the Senate ad hoc committee have responded, saying that the move by the MPs will not succeed. They say senators were validly elected by Kenyans. They were speaking at the Kenya Fluorspar Company in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Kazi yetu senators ni kufanya kazi pamoja na nyinyi wananchi. Tunawakilisha serikali ya juu na chini.
Si ndio hiyo? Lakini Senate imekuja hapa na imesema ya kwamba nyinyi katika counties, wananchi katika sehemu za counties hamutaumia kama Senate iko. Si ndivyo? Sasa nyinyi wananchi mnaunga mkono Senate ama hamuitaki? Sasa sisi ni watu wa Senate. Na Senate iko na watu 67 peke yake, ama namna gani? Sasa ile nyumba ingine iko na watu 350, atutuvunje Senate. Atutuvunje Senate ndio ile ya 350 ikae. Kama tukifanya hesabu, hebu tufanye hesabu ile kidogo tu. Kama unataka upunguze karama ya maisha, utaondoa ile yenye iko na watu wengi ama utaondolea ile iko na wachache?
Sasa kama hawataki, ati kwa sababu hao wanataka tu kujishikilia CDF, ati hii pesa bilioni 3 ambayo inakuja ama 4 ama 5 hawataki hiyo ikuje. Kweli jamani, Wanakenya walipopiga kura, Wanakenya milioni 4 wakasema devolution iweko, na wakasema kuwe na senator na mkachagua Murkomen hapa. Si hao wananchi wa Kenya walijua vile wanafanya?
The government's quest to quash the pending cases at the ICC against President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy continues to fuel heated arguments among politicians. Senate Majority Leader Kindiki Kithure says via video link could be the best option for the president. Kindiki wants the government to continue with his pursuit to allow the president to attend his trial session through video conference. The National Assembly's Majority Leader Aden Duale is, however, still opposed to that option. Duale insists that Kenya's traditional ally, Britain, should have supported the quest for a deferral of the 2 cases.
Kwa sasa tunaendelea kuhimiza nchi za ng'ambo siachilie, hata kama kesi itaendelea, waachilie Mheshimiwa Rais na Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais. Sio lazima wawe wanaenda huko kila wakati kukaa pale kotini mwezi mzima. Tunataka kesi siendelee, mawakili wawe huko. Kama kuna kitu iko teknolojia ya kutumia, ndio rais awe hapa na naibu rais awe hapa, ndio tuweze kusuluhisha changamoto za kitaifa.
Now, a couple from Ol Kalou surprised their family and friends by holding their wedding at a children's home. The lovebirds picked children from a home for the disabled as their flower girls and page boys. David Wanjohi and his bride, Lucy Wangui, rode on a camel from Nyahururu Catholic Secretariat to Talithakum Children's Home after renewing their vows. The two have planned a honeymoon that will see them ride bicycles from Malaba in Western Kenya to Lamu at the coast in order to raise funds for the children's home.
Jaribu kuambia Wakenya hata hawa watoto ni inafaa tuangalie sana, sababu wao wameibwa na Mungu kama sisi. Sasa na nikaona hii fursa ni mzuri nichukue, sababu tuna celebrate 50 years of independence. Nione kama naweza uganisha wa Kenya.
Na namsupport kwa hiyo work yake. Ni vizuri sana kuwa na hao watoto.
Fed up with the rising cases of defilement in Wamba, Samburu East, one man decided to take on the fight. The middle-aged businessman was sickened by what he felt was unnecessary delay in seeking justice for the victims. Catherine Wanthu brings you his story just days before the 16 days of activism against gender violence set to begin on Monday.
They may be simple hand movements, but they are a sign that Mary is slowly healing from her post-traumatic stress disorder occasioned by her experience 3 years ago.
Tulifika saa 10 nyumbani tukaelezewa na mtoto venye amefanyiwa na wakajua hiyo mtu.
Tulikuwa tunajuana naye. Hata alikuwa anakuja kukula chakula kwetu, mara akikula anaenda kwao. Sasa wakati sasa jamaa alikuja hata sisi tulishangaa kuona hii maneno ilikuwa inafanyika.
In any traditional society, the judiciary comes second to a council of elders. Like a number of parents whose daughters have been defiled, Mary's parents were offered an out-of-court settlement, and with a high level of poverty in this county, in most cases this form of coercion works.
Hapa wanafichanga. Hapa unaongea kwa kijiji, unalipwa. Mimi basi nilikataa kulipwa. Nikasema hii sio kitendo ya kuongea hapa. Kama mtashika hii mtu nitatafuta juu chini venye hii mtu atashikwa na venye mtoto yangu atasaidika.
This decision to ensure justice for Mary reached its logical conclusion made the family an outcast.
Kwanza nilienda kwa chief. Sasa kuliko chief anisaidie. Akaniambia tukampelekea mtoto. Kumpelekea yeye kuliko yeye mtoto kuangalia na kona gari na kona pikipiki. Akakataa.
Pascali heard Mary's story. Unlike most who would shake their heads and move on with life, he took it upon himself to help the family. He would walk from office to office in Wamba until Mary's perpetrator was arrested and jailed mid this year.
So nikisikia tu mtu amenajasiwa, especially mtoto, mimi ninajiamusha tu, ninaenda mpaka police station. Kuna ripoti mmeletwa hapa? Ndio. Mmechukua hatua gani? Kuna amepelekwa hospitali? Mmefanya nini? Vitu kama hivi. Mimi ninajihusisha kivyangu.
Seeking justice for the victims is an uphill task. The most surprising is that in this constituency, getting a P3 form to process an abuse case with the police will cost at least 500 shillings.
Sio rahisi. Kama yule mama tulitoka pale huko anachoma makaa. Ndebe ya makaa ni shilingi 100. Utasanya 100 mara utapatia watoto yako 100 ama utasanya hizo pesa. Kwa hivyo kupata hiyo shilingi 1000 ndio jambo lingine linafunja wazazi moyo kwa sababu wengi wao hawana.
When Pascali hears of such a case, he will use his own money to pay for the form. If he has none, he will seek help elsewhere.
Ni hawa kina mama ndio huwa wananisaidia.
According to the law, a P3 form should be free for any victim of abuse anywhere in Kenya. Authorities know this, however they seem to be a hurdle for such girls.
Wanashangaa, wanasema ni ujuaji tu ya huyu. Anajua mambo mengi. In fact, honestly wanasema hivyo. Wanaume hawako tayari wa Samburu kuhusika na mambo ya unajisi ya wasichana.
Sally's family knows all too well about this kind of chauvinistic bias. She was defiled mid-2013.
Alishikwa the same day, akapelekwa station. Pia mimi nilishuhudia alikuwa ndani. Alikaa station almost 3 days. Nadhani the following day, sasa siku ambayo ilikuwa inafuata ilikuwa apelekwa kotini. Kama sasa ni kesho ilikuwa kotini, akaachiliwa leo. Ni kama walimpea free bond. Kesho yake hakufika kotini. Alipotea hivyo, story ikaenda kwa unavutana.
Because her assailant walks free, Sally was moved from Wamba constituency as Pascali seeks for a way to lock him up. But this is not an isolated case. He is angered by the fact that he is sort of a lone ranger in this quest.
Badala ilete NGO hapa zinakuja kupigana mambo ya maji, zinakuja kupigana mambo ya shule. Kwa nini tusiwe na NGO ya kupigana na tohara na kwa wasichana kuolewa mapema wa Samburu, ili tabia itoke. Tupate mawakili wanawake wa Samburu, wasichana. Ndio wakuja wafanye hii kazi si ya wanaume. Wanaume wasikii uchungu, yule anasikia uchungu ni mama.
Defilement cases require urgency, but for the people in Samburu East, which is the biggest constituency within Samburu County, urgency is not really a matter. The children's officer must come from Maralal, which is in Samburu West, and travel 115 kilometers to Wamba to cater for these children. By this time, parents and children have lost hope.
This 3-hour drive is treacherous, driving across one of the most dangerous counties in Kenya. At most times, the child officer will not make it on time or decide not to go at all.
I'm telling you, it will be a disaster in Samburu East. Kama hii ofisi ya watoto haitaletwa hapa, whereby the officers will exercise their roles.
Despite all this, Pascali does have a success story, that of Lucy, a 7-month-old molested in front of her older sister.
Anasema alikuwa anashika mtoto yao, ndio hiyo mzee akakuja akamnyang'anya mtoto, akaanza kumfanyia hiyo kitendo.
Lucy's sister gave this witness account in court, and the perpetrator is now in jail. Pascali hopes for more successful stories like that of Lucy, but really, he wishes that defilement and rape would end altogether. He has no office, and he is in dire need of finances to help the victims' families with medical bills, but he will not wait for assistance. With whatever he has, he will continue to fight for the rights of young girls in Wamba constituency. Catherine Omwando for the Survivor Series.
Well, we need more people like Pascali in this country. Amazing story there on the Survivor Series. Moving on, the government's Nyumba Kumi initiative is getting support from the religious circles. Head of the Catholic Church in Central Region, Archbishop Peter Cairo, has backed the initiative, saying it would help make Kenya safe. He called on Kenyans to support the government as it strives to make the country secure. Cairo spoke during an ordination ceremony for new priests, where he also announced a reshuffle of over 20 Catholic priests from various parishes in the region.
Love each other, respect each other, and work together for the good of our country. So I feel if we could know one another and work together as a team, then we are going to fight against some of those insecurity that's happened, let's say, in our country. Even the kidnapping, abducting people, sometimes asking so much money. It is not right. We are all Kenyans, so we should respect each other and we together in harmony and use the talents that God has given us to develop our country, Kenya.
Well, we'll now take a short commercial break. We will be back with more news. Welcome back. You're watching KTN Weekend at One. Now, airlines may be preparing for a big change soon: in-flight cell phone calls. But there's mixed reaction to the news. Many are divided over the proposal, but there's no technological basis for a ban.
A proposal to allow airline passengers to use cell phones in flight has travelers talking.
You might want to talk the entire flight at a loud voice about every single problem you have in your family, blah, 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 blah.
I don't think it's correct to be able to have to listen to everybody chattering on the phone.
It may not be long before we all say so long to the idea of just sitting back and relaxing. Some international airlines already allow passengers to talk and text. Now an FCC proposal could give American air carriers the ability to do the same.
I would allow the phone call as long as it's short and to the point. Otherwise, it would be better that they don't use their cell phone.
The Flight Attendants Union was against the idea when it was floated back in 2004. They still are.
As you know, airplanes fly thousands of feet, metal tube in the air, and we don't want any kind of situation that could increase any ability to have a volatile situation on board the aircraft.
If given the option, it's already clear that some airlines wouldn't be on board. Delta Airlines says if the FCC changes its policy, will Delta allow voice communications on flights? No. But it's a big opportunity for telecommunications companies. Service in the sky could have customers paying through the nose.
This is potentially a multi-billion-dollar industry for cell phone companies and device manufacturers. Once this ban is lifted, it's not going to be like your regular phone will just work perfectly. You're going to either have to sign up for extra service or you're going to have to pay serious roaming charges, probably in excess of $2 per minute for every phone call you make.
Expensive, right? That's because experts say installing the new equipment on board could cost $3 to $4 million per plane. Alexandra Field, CNN, New York.
Well, that's it on KTN Weekend at One. My name is Najma Ismael. Have a lovely afternoon.